when people are deciding on what city they're going to move to, what city they're going to invest in, what city they feel safe putting their money in, they look at what's going on in the city and they look at the perception of, the value of the currency in the country, the systems in place for healthcare, for all that kind of stuff. And one of the newest metric is how well does your city handle a pandemic?
Yeah, and you know what? It's amazing because I think people will look past the fact that we're a very indebted nation. We have a very high debt rate per capita here. But I was thinking, and maybe I'm crazy, but our debt is not as consumer based as like the United States. Our debt is largely mortgage debt, right?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
largely line of credit or reverse mortgage debt, but it's all tied to a physical asset. It's not tied to a piece of plastic that's in my credit card that I can ignore calls for the next 8 years if they want to come after me, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Which makes it a strong. It's a selling point. It's not a deterrent. I mean, that's the only negative thing that we ever hear about Canada is that we're a very indebted country. But again, Toronto is like this separate little island in the middle of this thing. We're kind of like Hong Kong, which is a whole
Mm.
other topic for a little later on in the conversation. But it
We're
would
going there.
it would definitely tie in. I mean, maybe we could
Yeah.
go there now, but I'd rather
Yeah.
talk about your hot property and some
Oh,
good
hot property.
news going on in Toronto now.
Absolutely. So I put a property up in Leslieville on Friday, and we were getting calls from the sign. We were getting calls like right away before it was even, really out there yet. Like it was just sort of, getting on the market and
Where is
everything
this
else.
in
And
Leslieville?
Leslieville, yeah. And so yesterday is Saturday, so it's like our first full day on the market. It's really got all the exposure out there. All the advertising and marketing that we've done has been submitted, and we had 39 booked showings.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are you
So
holding back offers or you just
offer dates next week. So we'll see. Got lots of calls, lots of people interested, all that kind of stuff too. So, we're trying to keep some social distancing policies. We got masks, we got gloves, we got all the things that can possibly be used in order to protect people. We're telling everybody to protect themselves. We're trying to stagger appointments as much as possible to keep people from crossing paths. We're doing everything that we can do. The sellers are gone; they're not in the house; they're at the cottage,
how does that
and
work now? Because I know a tactic used to be, especially when you're setting it up for like a bidding war, like with holding back offers.
mhm,
You'd want as many people in that house at the same time as possible, right?
yeah.
So that you get that kind of herd mentality, like, oh my God, I gotta get it, I gotta get it, I gotta beat
Oh,
them.
I don't think that is as effective as people think. I mean, it's a much different scenario, like at a public open house or a private showing or whatever it is, when you've got people who are crossing paths inside the house, than when you're actually submitting an offer and the offer presentation is at like the listing brokerage's office or at the property, and then you have people outside of the house who see each other. That is much more impactful, because now it's actually at that heightened state of emotion when you're actually putting the pen to paper and writing down the numbers. But deciding whether you like the house or not based on there's a bunch of people in the house, and I don't think that's going to be as effective at getting the most amount of money, to be honest. I think if everybody saw it individually and didn't know that anybody else was interested until offer night, but they did know that there was 5 offers, that's just as good as having 400 people go through the house at the same time, all screaming that they'll pay anything for this, and whatever. So no, no issues there.
That makes sense.
No lost money for there. So we'll
That
update.
makes
We'll
sense.
update on this property next podcast.
Cool. Good luck.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it's sold by next podcast.
there you go.
So, a lot of good stuff going on in Toronto. We have, I think this is important. So, first, okay, the Leafs, obviously important. Then, two Toronto hospitals reach new milestone. No patients in the ICU, which I
Awesome.
think that's great. Yeah. I mean,
Great.
I don't really follow the news so much with regards to this, but I follow the stats, and I mean, I think Canada is doing a great job. especially
Okay.
compared to everything else. Like we've got this thing under control. It's kind of a weird time now to do this, but it can't
Why?
hurt. Well, I don't know. Like your hospitals
Late?
are empty. I don't know if it's late, but that's what I was saying. Like better late than never. But like everything's looking great out there, guys. Get out there. Now it's mandatory. It just seems
Wear a
like
mask.
if we were willing to make it mandatory, why the hell didn't we do it 2 months ago?
It's late. Yeah.
It's
So
late.
you're right. But let's go. Let's not dwell on it and
Yeah,
wear,
let's go.
keep
Thanks so
everybody.
much.